All right, good afternoon. I've got 102 on my computer, so we're going to go ahead and get started. For the ones of you that are here, I've got it opened up for anybody who happens to get here late, so they should be able to slide on in. Um, Anybody have any questions or anything so far from what we have talked about or anything regarding the course? Okay, silence is a good thing in this case. Um, I'm going to pull up one thing real quick that I want to show you guys and just talk through it real quick. Let me get that pulled up, and then I'm just going to share my screen with you in just a second. So, all right, let me get back to you guys. All right, I'm going to start off real quick with just a little update on the Leisure Experience paper. So I'm going to go real quick to my page there and share that. All right, are you seeing my page now with the Leisure Experience paper? Okay, thank you. Okay, where this is found is just under the Content tab on Blackboard. You're going to go there, and rather than just sit here and read this to you, I've had a few questions about it, and it's not, don't make this harder than it needs to be. I'm looking for you guys to come up with a leisure recreation experience that you can start doing this semester. It doesn't have to be anything huge. You don't have to start learning, training for the U.S. gymnastics team. I'm not asking you for that. I'm asking you to pick up something that can help your well-being this semester. What is something that you like to do in your leisure time, or that you would like to start doing during some of your free time? And I know a lot of us don't have a ton of that, so base your thoughts on how much time you have and your resources and what's available to you. So develop a semester-long leisure experience aiming towards sustaining or improving your well-being. So think about something that you want to do, not something that you are already doing. Now, if you're already doing something and you want to add to it, that would be fine. No issue with that. And then the main thing here is right down here, if you're seeing my cursor in the paper, share with me your reasons why you chose that leisure experience, what your goals are to get out of it, what do you expect your outcome to be, what do you expect to see from it, what benefits do you think that you're going to see, is there a cost? If so, how much will it cost? Like say you wanted to start bowling or something like that. And there was going to be a cost involved. What barriers to participation might you see? What are the things that might get in your way of being able to do it? If it's something such as running a mile each day, a barrier might be extreme weather, something like that. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, is barriers to participation or things that could come up that would stop you from being able to do that. And just give me like a schedule of how often you plan to do this new activity. And I've had some good emails from people asking about different things, and some of them are things that uh, that aren't really feasible to do, but they think it would be a good thing that would help improve well-being. What this is about is you actually doing it, because right now, especially with this COVID and all, everyone's a little down, everyone's a little messed up. So anything we can do to improve our well-being is a good thing. And then farther down, you've got a reflection paper that is just a follow-up to this leisure experience paper. It's not due until November 7th. That gives you time to see what happened for a couple months, and then you basically tell me how it went, what did you do, what benefits did you see. You answer those questions again in regards to how it went for you during the semester. Is that pretty clear for you guys? Y'all got the idea of what I'm looking for on it? Okay. I'm going to stop sharing that screen and move on along to sharing another screen with you guys. And we'll jump right into chapter 3. It's a little longer than some, but I'll run through it as quick as I can for you guys. So when I change this to slideshow, are y'all still seeing my slideshow? And when I click, it changes, correct? Like it just went, okay. I recorded one of these and it didn't work that way. So I'm trying to figure out what was going on with that. I think it may have just been a glitch one time. So this chapter 3, oh, one more thing. Let me get this out there. I've had some questions about the books. You know, I can't get my book. It's on delay from the bookstore. Just get it as quick as you can. When you get it, you can catch up on the readings and stuff. So that's kind of where we stand on that. I'm trying to go through this stuff in pretty good detail for you guys. So if you don't have the book and you're unable to read, that you're still able to get the majority of what I'm trying to get you to pull from the material. But obviously reading it in combination with me talking to you is going to be the best. So we're going to talk about some terminology associated with careers and professionalism just in general, not necessarily just recreation therapy. We'll talk about the characteristics of a profession. We'll talk about importance of professional development. We will talk about professional credentialing and what that means exactly. We'll talk about and identify ethical concepts and decision making. We'll talk about some differences between professional and non-professional occupations. Talk a little bit about accreditation and explain the potential range of therapeutic recreation services and clientele. So that's important, especially for anyone who along the line, as you go through this minor or these classes, you'll see the sort of options that are available for you. So that's important stuff. And we'll talk about some specific professional organizations that are relevant to the therapeutic recreation profession. So pretty easy. Once we get to those organizations, those are things that I'll tell you the important ones as I have been, and make notes of those. As far as when it comes time for testing, I'll tell you the ones that you really need to know. So starting in on the introduction, some terminology: career, job, profession. We all know what those things are. We can define them kind of singularly also. To me, your career is something that you plan to invest your working years to. You know, that's what I think of when I see as a career. A job is when it's not so much of something that you necessarily are planning long term. And then profession is the encompassing of your career and all of the other disciplines that may fit in to that and help to promote therapeutic recreation. So each profession has some characteristics. You've got a body of knowledge that is distinct and unique. You have professional development, such as going to conferences and workshops. Those are opportunities to stay up to date with what's going on, current news, things like that. You also have professional authority, which is where a profession has the ability to hold its members accountable, or the people that are working in recreation therapy. There has to be someone that makes sure that ethics and rules are followed regarding the provision of services. Professional credentialing, that is basically establishing the minimum standards of practice. It also helps lead to societal acceptance, and the belief that is, well, they're certified. It's like being licensed, certified. They see you as someone who knows what they're doing. So credentialing is important for that reason. And then a code of ethics is set forth by the profession, and it's just talking about the moral ideology of a specific profession. ATRA has a code of ethics, American Therapeutic Recreation Association, and at some point I will probably share that with you guys. I meant to pull it up today to share, but I forgot to do that. A profession is body of knowledge. We talked about needing to have that. There's a set or systematic body of knowledge. You've got information that's drawn from 3 different sources. Scientific disciplines, which are some areas of study like sociology, psychology, etc. Then what values do they profess or subscribe to? What sort of values does the profession hold? And for therapeutic recreation, I'm just going to read this. All people have the right to recreation and leisure. Recreation is the medium used to bring about physical, cognitive, emotional, social, or behavioral changes that are positive in nature. So that is a good example of values of someone who's looking at recreation therapy. Realize that recreation has value to it and that it can be used in a positive manner when it is given in the proper context. There are also applied or engineered skills. These are just the things that you need to perform your job. What are some things, does anybody have any ideas about what sort of abilities someone would need to have to be a successful recreation therapist? Anybody have anything off the top of their head? And we've covered some of these, so it's kind of review.
You need to be personable.
Absolutely. Being personable is very much a key. If you are not personable, people are not going to want to work with you nearly as much as if you are personable.
Probably be better to be more patient. That way you don't come off as, demanding, because people may not want to work for that, or people won't want to work for that.
Absolutely. Patience.
Then you won't have any people to help you, and then you're stuck by yourself. So there you go.
Right. Yeah. If you don't have patience, you're going to run into issues not only with coworkers, but also with the people that you're working with. That you're
like the patients themselves, or whatever. Yeah.
Are not going to like coming to you if they see you getting frustrated with them. You need to have ability to lead. That's one thing, because in recreation therapy, sometimes you have group settings that you'll be working in, and in a group setting is one scenario where you really will be leading a group activity. It doesn't mean that you have to be the most outgoing person in the world, but you do need to be personable. You do need to be a good motivator and be able to bring people into your activity with some enthusiasm. If you walk in and you say, all right, guys, I didn't sleep much last night. Let's just play bingo today. All right. You think they're going to be excited about that? No, it's about how you project yourself and how you lead. So that's important. You also need to have the ability to assess what people need from the information you gather from them when you meet them up front, not just from say, talking to them and interviewing them, but you also have to be able to draw that from looking at paperwork from the other disciplines as well, and see where their needs are. You can learn a lot from reading other people's notes, and you have to be able to form goals for your specific clients, because something to remember is recreation therapy, even when you're working in a group setting, there's sometimes where you can't get super individualized if you're given too many people. But for the most part, you're looking to individualize programs where you're working to improve the life of each person that you're dealing with. So you need to have specific goals and objectives for those clients. And we'll talk about that as we go farther along into the semester. That is really, goals and objectives are the key to recreation therapy and how it works, and moving forward on getting your patients to make progress. Professional development. That's exchange and transmission of professional knowledge. The number one thing that I think of here is going to conferences. I go to the Mississippi Recreation and Park Association conference every year. I'm not sure if they'll be having it this year with coronavirus and all. It's a good, very good conference. You have people that work in different, say we have therapeutic recreation meetings. For each session, we have an option of going to a therapeutic recreation event. So you have people that talk that are from drug and alcohol abuse centers. You have people that do recreation therapy in correctional facilities that talk. You have people that are in the park and recreation field that work with special populations and do therapeutic recreation. So you can get, and then you have people that work, say, in the same field that you are, the same type setting. It's a good opportunity to see what they're doing with their clients. And it's kind of like we talked about in the history chapter. If they tell you that they're doing this, they're having good responses and things are working well, that's something that you may want to try yourself, So you can learn a lot from talking with your peers. Conferences, workshops, you have professional and civic contributions that you can do. That's things like being on boards, volunteering, that would count into that. And then research and evaluation, that's something that you would kind of do on your own to try to broaden your knowledge as far as what people are doing, or different things that could work that you could share with other people. Career resilience is something that you guys might not be as familiar with, and that's just basically taking control of your future, taking planned and assessed risks where you weigh risk versus reward, and learning to deal with change positively. A lot of people have trouble with that, myself included. Sometimes we get complacent and we get comfortable, with what we're used to every day. So change is kind of like, oh, what do I do? Not great for a lot of people. So it's very important to, instead of looking at it as a negative right off the bat, to be open-minded enough to realize that change doesn't have to be a negative, that it may end up, even if it's tough at first, that it's probably going to end up being a positive situation when it's all said and done. At least give it the benefit of the doubt. So then we go into professional authority. And that was where I was saying that is the ability of the profession to hold its members accountable. And there's a table in your book, 3.1. Credentialing allows us to gain societal acceptance of the profession. Like I said, it helps us to improve the level of practice, because these agencies that set forth the testing and all for professional credentialing, they make sure that the tests that we have to take to be certified are of a high enough level that they're going to show competency in the profession. They also send out newsletters and information about changes that keep you up to date right there. Professional credentialing for recreation therapy is a Certified Therapeutic Recreation Specialist, CTRS. You need to know that for sure. And the group that is over that credential is the NCTRC, the National Council of Therapeutic Recreation Certification. When someone has CTRS, it enhances their credibility and enhances the credibility of the profession. And it gives a legal definition of the profession and what is supposed to be provided by that profession. So there's credentialing that can take place on the state or the national level. Again, I just told you this, NCTRC oversees Certified Therapeutic Recreation Specialists. That is where you gain certification. There's a national certification board that oversees Certified Parks and Recreation Professionals, CPRP. When I graduated from here eons ago, I came out of here and one of the last things I had to do was take the CPRP exam. And since then, I've let that one lapse because it was something that I wasn't using a great bit. Registration, certification, and licensure. These are generally, right now, these are types of voluntary credentialing. Even certification. Now, some jobs may require you to be certified, and if that's the case, then it wouldn't so much be voluntary. There are requirements that have to be in place to maintain credentials. With my certification, I have to do an average of 10 hours a year of CEUs, continuing education. I'm able to get those by going to conferences and go to specific meetings that fill those roles. I can count those for CEUs. Now, there's two paths to get credentialing with NCTRC. You can either go an academic route or equivalency, and that's on a table in the book as well. We're not going to go into that in great detail because it changes fairly regularly. Any one of you who becomes interested in looking at trying to become certified, I will be more than happy to share more information with you about current credential guidelines and the path to get you there, how we could do that here at Ole Miss. The code of ethics, we talked about that. That's just basically the moral identity of the profession. So in what we're looking at for that are things like moral conduct, moral character, and moral community. Something that you can do on your own is go to figure 3.1 in the books. There's several things from today's talk that I want you guys to actually go back through this, just the PowerPoint slide. You don't have to watch this again by any means, but go back through the slide and find these ones that say review scenarios on page 38. Because there's so many of us, it would take us forever to do that here. Y'all go back and look at some of this on your own, and it will bring some understanding that we can't get through a computer. Then there's a decision-making model that can be used to solve the scenarios, basically. So there's 5 main ethical principles, and some of these may ring true to you guys, and some may be words that you've never really seen, never thought about. Beneficence, non-malfeasance, autonomy, justice, and fidelity. So beneficence is just basically saying that we have a duty to promote good to further health and welfare of our patients. We're looking to benefit them, long story short. Non-malfeasance is we have a duty not to injure or harm another person as a recreation therapist. That's kind of a duh moment right there, but it's true. Autonomy, we need to respect people, and by giving autonomy, we need to try to let them make some choices that have to do with their care. That being said, you know, as we talked about earlier, I believe in another meeting, you know, when you're given choices, you're a lot happier with what you have to do. So that's important for that reason. Justice, treat others fairly, and you're going to divide tasks and time equally. No matter where you work, what you do, whether you are an instructor and you're talking about people in your class, whether you are a recreation therapist working in the field, whether you're an educator in a high school, you cannot help but have people that you're going to kind of click with a little better, that's going to be easier to work with, you're going to have more fun dealing with. Just because of that, you can't spend 45 minutes with Tommy because he's your favorite and 15 with Johnny. That's breaking an ethical principle. You are bound to give everyone equal amounts of yourself in the profession. And fidelity is truth keeping and truth telling and promise keeping, basically. To me, you know, if you tell someone, I'm going to be there at 1 o'clock, be there at 1 o'clock. If you tell them, we're going to talk about this tomorrow, you block space out and you talk to them about what you tell them. That's what fidelity is. As far as the enforcement of the ethics, you've got professional organizations. That would be situations like the Mississippi Recreation and Park Association. They look at what people are doing. You've got credentialing bodies, which for me is the CTRS. You're looked at by NCTRC and ATRA, American Therapeutic Recreation Association. They are credentialing bodies that look at what you're doing and make sure that you're following ethical principles and such. Agency enforcement, that's going to be from your workplace. You know, you've got people at your workplace who are going to be looking at ethics and dealing with things such as, you know, when people make claims against you that you were not doing something fairly, or you're going to have people to complain. So you'll have to have people at agencies that are going to look into those situations, and that's where that agency reinforcement or enforcement comes in. Now, if you're not following some of these ethical things, especially non-malfeasance, primarily, if you're not making sure not to injure or harm someone that's in your care, then you may be faced with legal ramifications, and that's just a big uh-oh right there. So all the more reason to follow those ethical situations. As far as professional culture, you're looking at the customary beliefs, norms, or traits of the profession. As far as therapeutic recreation, people that work in the field, they need to be consumer focused. Basically, you are focused on your patients. You serve as advocates for your patients. You believe that leisure and recreation are basic human rights, and you're committed to providing beneficial, dignified, and empowering services. You know, in the last class, you know, we watched that video about the Ramp of Hope. And we all know that what was being provided there, although not by recreation therapists, was far from dignified and empowering, you know, going by the speech that was given in that video. So we'll have a whole chapter on empowering people and how we talk to patients. So as far as professional preparation in therapeutic rec, paraprofessional, this is a training program such as a associate degree in therapeutic recreation. It kind of goes from least to most, you know, going down. Then you can go from there to professional, where you have a degree in therapeutic recreation from an accredited institution. You'll have to have an internship that is done under someone who is certified in therapeutic recreation. That's to ensure that you get a quality internship that is actually a situation where you're able to learn about the profession, not just do busy work. And then accreditation, what that basically, the curriculum needs to match the guidelines from the NCTRC. That's a lot of what I have to do when I'm coming up with these classes, because I want people that come through when they get done to be able to get certified. So I have to make sure that our curriculum matches what they need to have it say to count for the coursework to sit for the exam. Accreditation is something that we do have here. There's a council on accreditation also, and they just assure program quality. And it also helps with improving the quality of your program. They give you ideas when they come in. Every few years, that council comes in. They talk to the instructors, they talk to some students, and they put together, a picture of everything that's being done and see what you're doing well and what needs to be improved on in that setting. The CPRP exam, we talked a little bit about this. That's park and recreation curriculums that are accredited. They make you qualified to sit for this. That's why I was able to take that CPRP when I graduated from here, because I finished my undergrad in an accredited program that was related. So what experiences and opportunities are out there? You can pick up experience volunteering. Special Olympics is an awesome chance. And Rennie, when I saw your name pop up, I remembered that I did not send out the information about Special Olympics to everyone, so I'll try to send that out in an announcement today. Thank you for getting that to me, by the way. You also can get experience in a variety of groups that are in, different. You want to work with a variety of groups when you're trying to get experience coming into the field. So that's something. I'm also over internships here. When I have an intern come in, I always try to be sure that they go somewhere where they can work with a variety of groups, because I want it to be kind of like a test drive, because an internship in theory is a test drive to see if this is what you want to do for the rest of your life. So if you're not getting a true view of who you're going to be working with and what you're going to be doing, then you're not getting a really good internship experience. You need to work with different groups in different settings, and that can help decide your path. Even think of someone in medical school. They're going through and they have rotations. And that's how some people end up wanting to do pediatrics. And some people want to work in trauma, because they go through and they get the experience and they see which one gathers the most interest from them. So that's what's important about getting some experience. There's also some professional opportunities. There's another figure here. Where you see these figures, you can always take a look at these. We serve a lot of different populations, and we serve community settings, clinical settings. There's private facilities. We have a facility here in North Mississippi, Senatobia area, that's for developmentally challenged individuals, and it is a privately owned situation where families pay primarily for their care. We also work in public settings and both profit and nonprofit areas. So there are professional organizations that you can join. as a recreation therapist. And number one, by joining professional organizations, you're supporting your profession. You are promoting the advancement of the field. That's what these organizations are made for. They're looking to advance the field. They want to support the people that are in the field. And some of the benefits of the membership, you've got sponsoring meetings and educational programs, publishing literature that deals with research that's being done in the field. Those meetings and educational programs just above, that's chances for training and education and personal development like we talked about earlier. The membership also can provide for credentialing and maintenance of credentials. That's the key for me, is the maintenance of credentials. If I didn't have the opportunity to be in professional organization and go to workshops yearly, then I would have a hard time maintaining my CTRS certification because I have to have those CEUs. Also, in the membership for almost any organization, they're going to define what they consider to be proper behavior. In this case, with it being in the recreation therapy field, they'll define what they consider to be professional behavior for you in the field. And they'll recognize recognizing change factors. What's going on? What are things that could cause changes in the field? And it gives you the opportunity to stay current and relevant in the field. You know, like I said at one point, back when the Wii came out, that was a big thing. If you're hiding in the bushes and you're not recognizing change factors, then you missed the boat and weren't able to jump on that brand new idea and new activity that you could do with people that wasn't available before. So what are some of these professional organizations that can be joined? One that is not here that I want to add is NTRS. That's the National Therapeutic Recreation Society. It's part of the National Park and Recreation Association. You also have ATRA, which is the American Therapeutic Recreation Association. That's our largest national organization. You guys need to know what ATRA is. You need to be able to tell me what that is. What does ATRA stand for? AAHPERD. That's the American Alliance for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance. They threw dance in there. Not that that's a bad thing. It just doesn't, it's not quite as much of a broad spectrum as the rest of it. AAPAR, that's the American Association for Physical Activity and Recreation. There's also networking that takes place in professional organizations. There's intra-organizational and inter-organizational. As far as intra, that's what happens within your organization. You share your goals. Inter-organizational, that's where you're dealing with other organizations that are similar to yours, that serve similar populations, and you're able to share ideas, etc. All right, I want to ask a few of these and let you guys kind of tell me what you think. And then I'll give you my opinion on this, but I don't do that in order to sway any of your thoughts by any means. I just want a little bit of your thoughts on this. Does having a professional credential make a therapeutic recreation professional more qualified or a better practitioner? Why or why not? Would it make you a better recreation therapist because you have the CTRS certification? There is no wrong answer. What are your thoughts?
Do you want us to say it in the chat or out loud?
Oh, you can say it out loud.
Oh, well, I would say it kind of varies on the person, because there's people that can go through that process and be just as good as somebody that didn't go through that process, so to speak. But I would say it'd probably be better to take the first route with actually, doing like such as what we're doing, going through college or something like that to do it, is what I would say. I'd say you have a better chance if you do it that way, but you can still get it done without taking that route as well. So.
Okay, so he kind of he gave a nice, safe answer, guys. He went right kind of down the middle of the road. He was like,
Yeah, I don't know
better,
to
but
lean
it may
either
not
way
be.
because, yeah.
And that's okay. Anybody have a definitive yes or no?
I would I would personally say yes. I think it would be better to have credentials and certifications just from the fact of I feel like if you go through that extra work to get a credential to establish credibility, then one, I think people will have more faith in you. And also, I feel like there's got to be some benefit to actually having credentials and having that extra certification over someone that would not. So I feel like it has to be beneficial somehow.
Okay, very good answer. Does anybody think not? Is there anybody that thinks having the credential really, as far as being a practitioner, makes no difference? We have anybody on that boat? Because usually I do.
I sure as hell hope it makes a difference, or else we wouldn't be here right now.
Right. That's a good point. Okay, here's my take on it. Your professional credential, what it does is it shows that you have met the minimum competency levels to pass a certification exam. It is beneficial for you. Number one, it helps you to get a job. Number two, it makes people kind of believe in you a little bit more, usually. Your employer can actually, at the last two places I worked prior to coming here when I was a practitioner, they were actually able to, in their promotional material, because I worked there and was certified, and I was the only one that had the certification, they were able to provide therapeutic recreation with a certified therapeutic recreation specialist. So they can actually use that to their benefit as an employer as well. Now, the consumer, your patient, they're going to have, a lot has to do with interpersonal communication. When you meet them, how do you get along? How do you get a feeling about someone when you meet them right off the bat, basically. But they're also, if they know that you're certified, they know that you've gone through this process, then they're going to believe what you tell them a little more than if you didn't, I would say. Now, all that being said, when it comes down to one portion of this question, better practitioner, that's where the key is, and where some people can turn around and say, no, it really doesn't. Because you can have the certification, you can have all that good stuff, the education, the certification, but if you're not a good motivator, and you're not a people person, and you're not building relationships with your client, and you're not following those ethical principles that we talked about going through this chapter, then even though you have certification, someone who may be working under you, if you're in like a first line manager position, somebody may be working under you as just a recreation therapy aide. They may be a much better practitioner than you would be, even though you had certification. You kind of see where I'm going with that? Now, they shouldn't be, because you have more background, more education in it. and all that. But that's where that question becomes interesting to me, because it doesn't necessarily make you a better practitioner, but it does give you a little more clout and a little more ability to find a job, things like that.
That's kind of where I was going with my answer earlier, kind of being down the middle. Because, like, yeah, it definitely matters. I mean, obviously, like, you want to go and get your, qualifications and all, but you can study all you want. And, when it comes down to it, how can you work with people at the end of the day?
Yeah, it matters for sure.
So, yeah, I guess that's what I meant by, like, somebody can work their way up without having those qualifications if they're a good people person, if they know what they're doing and how to work their way up, so to speak, so.
Being able to lead and motivate are huge.
Yeah.
You can be the smartest person out there and be in this field, and if you can't lead and motivate somebody to come on and participate with what you're asking them to do, then you're missing out on, they are missing out on what they should be getting. All right, so how does the therapeutic recreation profession determine professional competence? Basically, is answered by what we just talked about. What's the key to that? How do they say someone is competent to practice in the field? What do they have to do?
Get certified.
Yep. Certified by what group? Who do you get certified under?
Is it the ATRA?
No, that's the overseeing group.
Oh, okay.
Nation. Who is the credentialing body that you would take the test under?
Is it CTRS?
That is the certification that you receive. So you become a certified therapeutic recreation specialist. But when you take that test, you have to take it through what group? And this is all just review to help you remember.
Is it the
NCTRC?
NCTRC. Ding, ding, ding. Good job.
I'm going to have to write that down.
Yep. You need to know that. The NCTRC is the group that provides the credentialing test. Once you pass that test, you become a CTRS, Certified Therapeutic Recreation Specialist. Okay, those you definitely need to know: NCTRC, CTRS, ATRA. Let's see. Okay. This is just a thought-provoking question for you guys here. Maintaining client confidentiality is an ethical responsibility of the therapeutic recreation specialist. Is confidentiality absolute or situational, and why? And I'm closing the share out because I want to look at you guys.
I mean, I would say it's absolute.
Well, in most cases, yes. Unless, what would you think?
The person is trying to harm themselves, or there's something that is harming the person, the patient.
Yes, if they're about to harm themselves or others, you may have to share that information to somebody. General information, medical knowledge, you cannot say that at all. That has to be held in confidence. If you find out that say you work in a drug addiction, drug and alcohol rehab facility, and you find out that someone has been sneaking in narcotics to somebody in the home. You know who has it. What do you do in that situation? There's a situation where you cannot bite your tongue and maintain confidentiality. That becomes a situation of law in that case, you know. That's just kind of the only kind of time that you would probably break free from what you said, as far as, yes, it is our goal to maintain confidentiality at all times, unless they're breaking a law about to hurt themselves or others. And then that may play into a situation where it has to change. Last one. Why and how are professional organizations important to the vitality of the profession, and how are these organizations beneficial to the individual specialist? When you join an organization, how does that help you? Again, no wrong answers.
They can offer a sense of community.
Absolutely. You get a sense of community because you are in an organization of like-minded people. You're sharing best practices. Good answer you just shared there. Another thing that I like to point out, and another good reason to join professional organizations, is especially in, you know, if it's a local professional organization, it makes you marketable. You know, you can say, I'm a member of the Mississippi Recreation and Park Association. I'm on the so-and-so board. Things that these groups that you can join in organizations, they help you to market yourself, and they give you an opportunity to network with others that are in your field.
So more so like exposure?
Yes, exposure is a good thing. You meet a lot of people, especially if you go to conferences and all, that are tied in with these professional organizations. And that may open a door for you one day. The more people that you meet that are in your field, the more opportunities you may have. And by the way, I don't know what's going on my head. I think I got attacked by Freddy Krueger last night in my sleep. I woke up with this big like scratch between my eyebrows. I was not happy, but what can I do? It's not like I can throw my hair over it and cover it up. So I just got to roll with it.
I have a question about the local. Would it be more beneficial, you would say, to join local organizations over bigger ones? Just that way you actually get to meet the people and they get to actually know you more than if it's a bigger
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily. That's a really good question.
I just meant like for making connections, you know.
It depends. Depends on if you are settled in your area and you don't want to move. Then you're going to have more benefit probably from a local organization. If you're open to, wide open to going somewhere else, heck yeah, the bigger ones are. And it's all about, like, when you go to these conferences and things, what you get out of them is all about kind of what you put into it, as far as how much you get out and make it a point to meet people. If you don't network while you're there, you're wasting an opportunity and you are kind of cutting yourself short. Now, myself,
don't ever go against, be open to all possibilities.
Oh yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know who you're going to talk to that may be a contact down the road that would be beneficial for you.
Yeah, and even if you don't move at the time, that could change 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, whatever, however long you feel like being there.
Absolutely. There's benefits to both. The local groups that you could join and be a part of, organizations, they're probably going to have meetings on a fairly regular basis, once or twice a year at least, and you'd be able to see the same group of individuals fairly regularly. That is a positive. You get relationships with those people. Now the bigger organizations, you know, we have big conferences that you can go to that are nationwide groups. You have a lot more exposure to different things that are available to you there. It's a whole different ball game. You know, when you go to a NRPA conference, National Park and Recreation Conference, rather than the Mississippi Recreation Park Conference.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously, it's going to be a lot different. A lot of different people, a lot of different things are shared. So both of them are very good. If you are not planning on going anywhere anytime soon, I would focus on the local ones first.
Yes, sir.
That's
Gotcha.
my thoughts on that. So thank you guys for participating today. I think I've kept y'all long enough. What we're going to do is go on into, let me look here. Let's just cover chapter 4 next time. And again, my goal and what I'm trying to do here, I know we're kind of going boom, 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 boom through these chapters. I'm trying to run through a lot of this book early and as quick as we can. And later in the semester, I hope to get more into the hybrid part of the course and start, you know, bringing you guys in, you know, 15 at a time and do some activities and things once we've gone through enough for you guys to see how we run activities and get some ideas, things like that. Then we'll maybe try to start meeting here or there. I think right now, I'm trying to stay caught up with this contact tracing prep for y'all's classes. Y'all have a lot going on, and I think this is the best we can do right now. Again, now there are some situations where some people can't make it to class here on the Zoom meetings. If that happens, moving forward, send me an email and tell me that you weren't here and ask for the class, because I try to do my best to remember to record it. If I have it recorded, then I will share that with you. I'm not going to just start sharing it on on Blackboard, because if I do that, then nobody's going to be here with me. And I don't like talking to myself. So I want you guys to come. Now, if I start, that being said, if I start getting 15 emails a day saying, hey, I wasn't at class, can you send me the link, then we'll have to make a change at that point, and I'll just take that off the table. So make sure if you can be here, and it shouldn't be hard with you being able to do it from your home or wherever you are. So thank you guys for being here today and for paying attention and for actually speaking up. So I will send out another invitation between now and then, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. You guys behave, stay out of trouble. Don't get on my contact tracing list. I got enough as it is. I don't want to be calling y'all. I mean, I like you all, but I don't want to talk to you about all your close contacts, so let's not do that. So y'all have a good weekend. We'll go over chapter 4 on Tuesday.
Have a good day.
All right. See you guys.
Thank you.
You bet.